Welcome back to the Champagne Empress Podcast, your sanctuary for feminine power, magnetic attraction, and living a life of deep love, luxury, and devotion. I'm your host, Georgette, a feminine embodiment mentor, lifestyle creator, and your favorite Empress in heels. I want you to remember that here we do not play small. We sip slow, seduce life, and live in full expression of our desires. Whether we're talking about money, romance, soul awakenings, or champagne-worthy wins, this is where women come to remember who they are. So I want you to pour a glass of champagne, water, etc. Light a candle, and let's step into your next level together. And before we begin, I want you to place your hand on your body, your arm, your stomach, your hips, your face, and feel that this is not a project. This is not a trend cycle. This is sacred flesh. And I want you to take a deep breath and exhale. Because today we're talking about sovereignty. So today's episode is actually called Your Body is Not a Trend. And I want to say that slowly. Your body is not a trend. Recently, I finished watching the Tyra Banks documentary, and recent conversation were revisited, right? About the America's Next Top Model era, the commentary, the weight policing, the public critic of women's body. It's either you're too thin, you're too thick, you're too much, or you're just not enough. And what struck me wasn't just the criticism, okay? It was how normalized everything was. How comfortable society is dissecting a woman's body like it's public property. But here's what the divine feminine knows. The body is sacred territory. No one has the authority over your body. And the dark feminine actually defends that part of the divine. So let's talk about the trends, right? Every decade, we experience new trends when it comes to women's body. It's either one decade is about the BBL curves or the flat stomach or the hyper muscular, the natural, the all done perfection, right? And women are expected to actually morph according to those trends. And what you have to understand is your body is not a fashion cycle. It is not meant to be redesigned every time culture gets bored. So I want you to hear me clearly. However, if you want a BBL, by all means go get one. If you want breast work, get it done. If you want fillers, baby, do you. But I want you to come and do these things in a place of alignment. Because the question is not what you're doing, it's actually who are you doing it for? And if you remember my Decentering Men episode, you could go watch it. We have to go back to ourselves. We don't do anything for anybody else, for any men, or especially not for society. So I want you to ask yourself, are you evolving from intuition, or are you reacting from insecurities of what shows up in the world? The divine feminine creates from alignment, and the wounded feminine creates from pressure. When pressure shows up and you're reacting to it, it's showing that you are in your wounded feminine. We all have been there. Listen, there was a time I was in my wounded feminine that I was reacting to pressure instead of being really grounded in all the things that were and create from alignment. Because society thrives when women feel insufficient. Yes, it does. Because let me tell you what happens. The woman who's insecure spends money differently. She dates differently. She shows up in spaces in life differently. And the way she negotiates her desires are also different. So I want you to know that body shaming is not random, okay? It's really not random. It's actually profitable because people benefit from your insecurities. Because when you are grounded into who you are, you don't react from pressure of, oh, I need to change my body, or I need to have this, I need to do that. If you're doing it from, I feel the desire to do this in my body and I'm going to do it because it comes from the silent peace of a yes, not the chaotic pressure of, oh my gosh, if I don't do this, I may not get this job or whatever that comes with that. I remember after becoming a mom, walking through a grocery store and someone saying, oh, wow, that's your son? Oh my gosh, you don't look like a mom. Excuse me? What does a mom actually look like? Who decided that a mom had a look? Why are we so obsessed with assigning visual rules to womanhood? Because we hear so often, after kids, you should look like that. At 40, you shouldn't dress like this. At this weight, you're acceptable, you're welcome, you fit in. And at that weight, oh no, you're failing, you're not welcome here. It's policing. And the divine feminine does not submit to visual policing. If you're finding yourself falling into the trap of reacting to society's way of how you should be as a woman, I want you to remember when you are embodied in your divine feminine, it is true full expression. So when you actually submit to visual policing because someone else says so, you are abandoning yourself every day. In every moment, you become someone you're not. And then you lose yourself into someone you barely recognize. And a woman in her power recognizes herself, recognizes her flaws, recognizes every single piece of her. So I beg you to question when those things come up for you, to observe where are you reacting from. And I want you to reclaim that power for yourself. Because the embodiment truth is your body is the vessel, actually, through which your magnetism flows. So imagine when you're at war with your body, you're actually disconnected from your power. When you're ashamed of it, of the curves, of the stretch mark, whatever comes with that, you shrink your presence. When you constantly evaluate your body through the male gaze or the algorithm preferences of the magazine or society, whatever, you fracture your nervous system because now what it's saying is, I am not good enough. I am not loved enough. But when you stand in it unapologetically, something shifts. The dark feminine energy rises and holds you. She is not cruel. She's not angry. She is sovereign. She's not going around and asking people, am I enough? Or looking for validation or acceptance. She shows up and states, this is mine. And she knows it. And it doesn't matter what anyone around her believes. She knows that this is me, this is mine, this is who I am. Believe me, I fell into the trap before of, because I always say I work out. My number one priority is really not because, I need to be healthy, right? I make choices to stay healthy because health is one of my main priorities. However, I don't work out because I want to be healthy. I work out because I want to look good. I always knew I wanted to be good naked, but back then it was more, so when I am being intimate with a partner, They could look at my body and they could say, oh my gosh, how amazing you look, how sexy you look. And once you actually break the validation from the male gaze, from the partner, right? You actually dissolve the need for the validation. You dissolve any recognition from anybody else because now the validation comes within. It's like, I love my body. I love how I look naked. So yes, I'm going to go to the gym and work out because, oh my gosh, when I look at myself in the mirror, that ass. And some people could find it, oh, that's vain. But they wouldn't find it vain if you say, oh, I'm working out so I could be healthy. So I'm toned, my body's looking great because I'm healthy. No, they wouldn't look at it this way. But because you're like, I trust myself, I believe in myself so much that I'm doing this for me, not my husband, not my partner, not anybody else, but for me because I look good. I want you to remember there is no issue in knowing that you validate your own self. Because when you get validation from yourself, you do not make decision out of other people's words or thoughts or belief of you. You get to stay grounded in who you are. The divine feminine is not just softness. Oh, but she is softness and edge, baby. The fierce, powerful woman. She is beauty. Ooh, and boundaries. She is sensual, ooh, and sovereign. The divine feminine encompasses of the whole, of the soft and in the dark. And a woman embodied in her divine feminine does not let the world dictate her form. She listens inwards of the next step of what she needs to do. She motivates from desire, not desperation. She evolves from pleasure, not from panic. Because the body feels different when you're actually evolving from pleasure because that's sustainable versus panic. Because when you evolve from panic, there's going to be a point where you can't sustain it anymore, where you get tired, where you burn out. And when we are anchoring in wealth and love and beauty, we have to understand that it comes from desire and pleasure. Because when you are anchored in your wealth, you feel at home in your body. You negotiate differently. You ask for more. You don't overcompensate. You don't shrink in rooms. And you don't try to earn respect through perfection. You're going to do it well because it comes from the pleasure, desire. And if a dot is not in the center, if it shifts just a little to the right, your worth is still intact because your wealth is anchored when there's peace in your body. And when there's peace in your body, that is the true power of creating wealth. And when you are anchored in love, when you're looking for a partner, and when you honor your body, you stop chasing validation. You stop picking partners who criticize you. Oh, if you had more curve, I'll love you better. No, go find someone else who has more curve. You stop staying where you feel compared. A lot of women hear oh, my ex didn't do this to me. Okay, go back to your ex. My ex always did this. No, I'm not here to be compared. Instead, you become selective because you're no longer outsourcing your worth. And the same goes when you're actually anchoring that in beauty as well. Because you have to understand beauty is not conformity. Beauty is congruence. When your body aligns with your spirit, oh my gosh, that is divine feminine beauty. It's not a trend compliance. There will be partners that come to your life that tells you, let's say Jack is in your life and say, oh, I wish you had better curves. And Alex come in and say, oh, I love your curve, but I wish you had bigger boobs. And a Travis come in your life and say, I love your boobs. I wish you had a bigger butt. Then what would you do? Every time somebody tells you, I wish you did this. Would you go out in the world and change it because you want to be validated? No. You come as you are and show up in full self-expression because that's where the beauty lies. You get to show up with your curve, your flaws, all of it. And the person who's right for you will worship what society considers flaws. They will remind you how sacred your body is. They will remind you how beautiful your stretch marks are. They will compliment every inch of you because, as a woman, you're marvelous. So I want you to stop outsourcing your power and reclaim it. Reclaim your worth. Understand that your body is yours. So when you go out into a world where everyone say this is a beauty standard, this is the skin tone that matters, you're so anchored in your truth that it doesn't matter. Everyone is allowed to have a preference. Understand that. But also, regardless of anyone's preferences, you are worthy the way you are. With the height that you have, with the weight that you carry, with the skin that you came in this vessel with, you matter as the next person matter. And when you anchor in your truth and the purpose that your vessel came here to experience, as you know, we have chosen the vessel we're in right now. We have chosen this body to experience this life with. And when you anchor in this body and access your full divine feminine, you unleash a power that is untouchable. A power that will burn the hands of people there to tame it down. So if you're shaming your body for whatever reason, I want you to reflect on this. Where have I been shaping myself for approval instead of expression? And what will change if I trusted my own aesthetic fully? If your aesthetic is full on gothic, full on Barbie, full on whatever, chic, simple, embody that and express in that. But understand that it is you. When you show up as you in your fullest expression, you allow people to meet you for you. I always say, why would you want to be in any environment where people tolerate you just because you're conforming to their preference? I want you to show up as you, fully embodied, fully, because that is where your power lies. All right, Empress, I want you to take a deep breath and let that land. And if this episode moved you today, I would love for you to share it with a woman who's ready to rise. And I want you to tag the Champagne Empress on Instagram and let me know what poured into your soul today. If you haven't joined the Facebook group, the Champagne Empress Collective, join and we could discuss the podcast episode there. And if you're feeling called to go deeper into divine feminine embodiment, into your sovereignty, standards, sensuality, and self-trust, I want you to come sip with me inside any of my containers, my mentorship, my retreats, my experiences, etc. Because this work is not about surface beauty. It's actually about sacred embodiment. And if you're ready, I'm ready with you, side by side. We're going to make sure we rise together. All right, until next time, Empress. Stay soft, stay sovereign, and embody the life you desire.